is ABC 57 News at 11.
They determined that no probable cause exists to file any charge against Officer Wilson and returned a no true bill on each of the 5 indictments.
Tonight, a visual paradox. Violent protests and smoke bombs erupt underneath an illuminated Seasons greeting sign on the streets of Ferguson, Missouri. The entrance to the town overrun by a heavy police presence and dozens of protesters as riots break out and storefronts are destroyed.
Here's a live picture of Ferguson, Missouri right now. You can barely see because of all the police lights and smoke filling the town tonight. This all in reaction to the decision by a grand jury not to indict Officer Darren Wilson. Behind us, that's a police car that is burning, just one of several tonight in the middle of the street. I'm Brian Dorman.
And I'm Kim Chappell. It is a story that we first broke for you with live pictures tonight at 10. And new here at 11, we do have team coverage. Our Marissa Kinnison has a look at how this decision will affect Michiana. But we're going to start tonight with our Marcy Gonzalez live in Ferguson with the very latest. Marcy.
Good evening. A tense night here in Ferguson with demonstrators setting fires in the streets, blocking traffic on an interstate. Police say they're doing everything they can to keep the crowds calm as they react to tonight's announcement. Officer Darren Wilson walking free.
No probable cause exists to file any charge against Officer Wilson.
More than 3 months after he shot and killed unarmed teenager Michael Brown, a grand jury decided today Wilson will not face any charges.
We need to accept that this decision was the grand jury's to make. But I join Michael's parents in asking anyone who protests this decision to do so peacefully.
How to get away with murder?
But already tonight, the protests have turned unruly, with shots fired, demonstrators vandalizing a squad car, throwing Molotov cocktails at police. Law enforcement officials worry what we're seeing here tonight could continue to intensify, and they say they are prepared. With 1,000 extra officers on the streets, the National Guard and the FBI also here ready to offer backup. Meanwhile, we're told Brown's mother broke down in tears when she learned the grand jury's decision. The family attorney saying justice was not served. While tonight, Officer Darren Wilson is still in hiding, now free if he chooses to continue working in law enforcement. And the county prosecutor says nearly all of the evidence the grand jury reviewed in reaching this decision will be released to the public. Live in Ferguson, Missouri, Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News. Now back to you.
All right, Marcy, thank you for that live report tonight in Ferguson. In the statement released by Michael Brown's family, they urged for all patrolling officers to wear body cameras to avoid confusion in the future. Here in Michiana, law enforcement officials are showing their transparency with new camera equipment. A story that ABC 57 News first brought you just a couple of weeks ago. And tonight, ABC 57's Marissa Kinnison caught up with the Elkhart Police Department to see if the new equipment is working. Marissa, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. It is still in the trial phase, but officials tell me so far it's working out great, and they hope this new gear is something that can help build that trust with the Elkhart community.
So far, everybody that's had it has liked it.
You might not see it. This tiny camera clipped to an officer's tie is easy to miss.
The officer says it hasn't been in the way.
But only in the last couple weeks, this tiny camera has already made a big impact.
We get to see things that we might miss with that camera there. We can go back and watch that.
Take a look at the footage. The video already shows so much more than a normal dash cam would. And that's exactly what Elkhart police are hoping to do. With their relationship between Elkhart residents already strained, they hope this will bring more transparency to their day-to-day duties.
But overall, it shows what we do. You know, we don't hide anything. You know, and this shows exactly what we're out doing. It shows the, you know, how people are interacting with us, and it shows how we interact with the community.
But showing that interaction is also what can protect officers as well as the public.
When it goes to court and goes to trial, you know, there's a lot of benefits to being able to say, look, this is what I saw, this is what I was able to hear, and this is what it picked up on.
And it could be a crucial game changer, especially after the many accounts of the deadly shooting of Michael Brown and even the protests in Ferguson, Missouri. Well, next up, a midnight officer will wear the camera. Then the team will write up some reports and talk about what worked and what didn't, so that hopefully in the future the whole team will be outfitted with this gear. Reporting live in Elkhart, Marissa Keniston, ABC 57 News.
Thanks so much, Marissa. Again, here is another live look right now out of Ferguson, Missouri. What you're seeing is a Little Caesars pizza shop that is clearly on fire, flames shooting out of that building. And this is what is happening there tonight. Looting and riots and people destroying buildings in their own community. And a lot of folks we heard tonight were actually walking up to some of those protesters saying, stop, these are our friends, this is our community, these are their businesses, we need to have peaceful protests. So police do have their job cut out for them tonight in Ferguson, Missouri, as they try to calm the unrest that is still going on the streets there.
Unbelievable video. All right, of course, stay with ABC 57 News as we continue to follow this developing story for you very closely. We will have the very latest on what unfolds here in the overnight hours tomorrow morning beginning at 4:30, and we will continue to bring you all new information from the streets of Ferguson, Missouri during the rest of our newscast.
And turning our attention now to the weather, the roaring wind was another big story here in Michiana today. Wind gusts in parts of Michiana were so fierce they ripped off roofs and brought down trees and even power lines. And joining us now on our First Warning Neighborhood weather team, our meteorologist Tom Coombs.
Yeah, Tom, should we expect to see calmer wind by morning?
Yeah, the wind is continuing to calm as we go through the overnight. News since 10 o'clock, I've been tracking this band of snow on Twitter at Tom Coombs. You can follow me there. From Rochester now to Warsaw. This is enough to leave a coating, may mean some slick county roads out there. The main road should be okay, but heads up from 31 all the way to US 30, Rochester to Warsaw. Let me know if you have any snow on the ground and how much at Tom Coombs on Twitter. But that's where the snow is for this evening. It's moving towards the north and east. The rest of the area looking fairly quiet as far as snowfall goes. Just a few flurries out there, but not expecting much accumulation into the morning. Today's wind was peaking up around the 30-mile-per-hour range with gusts in excess of 50 miles per hour. Now down into the mid-20s and will continue to slide in miles per hour down towards the teens to even 10 miles per hour by noon tomorrow. How about temperatures? We're holding at 30 right now. It's cold out there and will stay cold. Tomorrow, don't expect much of a warm-up. Pretty much holding at 30 degrees. Cold and staying cold through Thanksgiving, which may be one of the coldest on record, at least over the past 50 to 60 years. I'll show you that coming up in your ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Forecast.
All right, coming up, a house in Michiana crushed by an old oak tree, but what makes the blow that much harder for the owners? They just moved in a couple of days ago. ABC 57's Eric Cox shows us the wind damage here in just moments with a live report. And new at 11, a life spared an instant before a deadly accident on US 20. It's a story that we first broke during our 90 minutes of news earlier this evening. That crash caused massive delays, an unusual scene for drivers. Two semi-trucks collided, causing one person to lose their life and pigs to be thrown all about the highway. ABC 57's Alyssa Marino live for us on the bypass near where that accident happened. And Alyssa, what is traffic like at this hour?
I'm very lucky to be alive.
Chris Cush caught himself driving in the wrong place at the wrong time tonight.
I had to slam on my brakes.
He was driving directly behind these two semi-trucks right before they crashed, a crash that led to the death of one of the drivers.
I feel really bad that someone lost their lives.
And one of the trucks was carrying pigs, hundreds of them. And sadly, for drivers passing by, they could see them lying on the road in the aftermath.
One of the most bizarre sights I've ever seen in my entire life.
Captain Jim Bradbury with the Elkhart County Sheriff's Department describes the chaos on the road.
It's a pretty extensive scene.
Bradbury says one of the semis was stopped by the north shoulder. That's when the truck carrying the pigs swerved to avoid that stopped traffic, but it ended up sideswiping the first truck and rolled over. The driver of the truck carrying the livestock was pronounced dead at the scene. And as for Chris, he says he learned a few things from tonight.
You just gotta have a good reaction, give yourself more time to stop.
And that was our Alyssa Marino reporting tonight. Well, a huge heroin sting in Benton Harbor brings down nearly a dozen people. The DEA, FBI, and several local law enforcement agencies worked together to arrest 9 people. The group is moving from Chicago to Benton Harbor, and the accused ringleader is a man named Joseph Jackson. And we do have the mugshots we were able to obtain from prior arrests. It's Kaisha Bennett, Jacob E. Irvin, Javel McElrath, Antoine Peterson, and Tanisha Swift. As for any other drug dealer in Berrien County, the sheriff left this message.
anybody else that decides that wants to sell drugs in Berrien County, understand that the people standing up here today are not going to tolerate it.
And officers seized heroin and $27,000 in cash.
A LaPorte County man behind bars at this hour accused of killing his own brother with a sword. Investigators say that 47-year-old Bradley Arndt used a sword to kill his older brother Thomas Sunday afternoon. Police say the two were arguing in this front yard when Bradley took the sword to his brother. When police got there tonight, neighbors are shocked that this could happen on their quiet street.
This is a quiet, peaceful area, and things like that are, they don't happen.
And when police got there, that sword was found stuck in the ground of a neighbor's yard.
A South Bend police officer accused of lying to his police chief could soon be without a job. Officer Jack Stilp went to a woman's home in January with an arrest warrant. Police Chief Ron Teachman says Stilp reported that he arrested that woman, but he never actually did. Officer Stilp says he didn't arrest the woman because he felt sorry for her and thought her safety was in jeopardy from her ex-boyfriend. This isn't the first time Stilp has been in trouble. He was disciplined 2 years ago for releasing sensitive information to the media.
And a heads up to Mishawaka drivers tonight. Logan Street from Milburn Boulevard to Panama Street will be restricted until Wednesday. Intersection of Logan and Milburn will stay open. The city is asking drivers to slow down, pay attention to the signs there. Crews will be working in the area paving and milling the road.
Well, record snowfall in Buffalo is breaking a record for budget cleanup as well.
Yeah, what it takes to remove 8 feet of snow blanketing the city.
And back here at home, it wasn't snow but wind that whipped through, bringing down trees on top of houses.
Cold tomorrow and prepare for a cold Thanksgiving. The latest in your ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood weather forecast.
At ABC 57's special coverage of the protests and violence in Ferguson, Missouri continues. In less than 10 minutes, right now you're looking at a Little Caesars engulfed in flames. We'll go back there live after the break.